you doing? How you doing? Oh my goodness, my Red Sox, they actually did something. We're alive, we're kicking, the Red Sox are back. Baby, how are we doing? I mean, is it really that big of a deal? It is just Lucas Giolito. But you know what? I'm excited we did something. We're going to break it down. Lucas Giolito to the Red Sox. Does this really make them that much better? What could be next for the Red Sox? Hopefully something. Please, God Almighty, please give me something else. An old friend of the Red Sox, JD Martinez. Could he be an Angel? Could he be a Met? Are the Blue Jays locked in on Yariel Rodriguez? Bit of an odd fit if you ask me, but we'll talk about it. And Roki Sasaki, is he going to be a Dodger next offseason? I mean, everyone from Japan's going to the Dodgers. Why not Roki Sasaki too? But it looks like he could be coming to Major League Baseball sooner rather than later. How you doing, everyone? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Around 250 people to start things off. How you doing? Hello. Happy Friday. Is it New Year's yet? No, it is not New Year's. We are a couple of days. Yeah, about a couple of days away. My goodness, 2024 just around the corner. And, hey, I didn't think I was going live tonight, to be completely honest. I usually, during the off season, like to keep my Friday nights, Saturday nights free of streaming, but of course things have to happen, and of course something has to happen with my Red Sox. Lucas Giolito, listen, it's not the flashiest of signings. It's not Yamamoto, right? I would have loved me some Yamamoto, but what can you do? We got Lucas Giolito instead. For the most part, Red Sox fans seem okay with it, despite a rocky second half last year. We'll get into those numbers, but I think it's more good than not. I'm seeing some Red Sox accounts out there saying, oh my goodness, why is all the Red Sox fans out there going crazy over this move? Yeah, I'm probably more in the middle, maybe leaning more towards it being a good signing. But I think there's potential there, and we'll talk about that. I'll talk about why I think there's some potential there. Talking JD Martinez tonight, Yariel Rodriguez, as well as Roki Sasaki. Nothing crazy on the Roki Sasaki front, but we might as well just start getting ready for it, everyone. I think that guy is coming to Major League Baseball next offseason. So you might as well just start getting ready, because it's going to happen next offseason. We're all going to be sitting around. The pitching market is going to be completely stalled because of Roki Sasaki. Get your brains ready for it, because it's probably going to happen. You saw how long it took for Yamamoto. Imagine how it's going to be for Roki freaking Sasaki. That's going to be even worse, I'm going to be honest with you. Anyway, let's get to it here, everyone. Let's get to it here. Before I do get started, if you can, hit that like button for me. Like goal for tonight is 200. The like goal has been set. We're already halfway there to start the show. If you can help us get there, I'll love you forever. But everyone, hit the bell. That way you know I go live every single time. Share the show. Share any of the content. Subscribe if you are new. And everyone, I did make an announcement on last night's show. Funny enough, I wasn't sure if it was going to be a good night to make that announcement, because it was a quiet night. There wasn't really a whole lot going on. We got up to around 450 last night during the stream, but by the end of it, by the time I made my announcement, it got down to 300 people, and I'm like, well, all right, I already said I was going to make the announcement, and yeah. Anyway, but if you have not heard my announcement yet, I posted a short about it here on the channel. You can go look at it if you want to. I made a post on the community tab as well. I'm not going to get into it all over again. I know you guys want to hear all the baseball stuff, but just letting you know, after 4 years of starting this channel, I'm living out the dream, everyone. I'm going for it. We're doing this full time, everybody. We're doing this full time. I'd like to say for right now, I have retired from teaching. For those of you that have been with me since the beginning, I I've been telling you all, I've been an elementary school teacher for 10 years, and I decided I want to do this full time. And that to me, I feel like I'm ready right now. I feel like I'm good to go. And I just love doing this stuff, man. I love doing it. I love talking all about it. It's a passion of mine. And, I mean, that's all I'm going to say. I put some more detail in the community tab on my post about it. But pretty much everyone, I'm excited about the future, being able to focus on this full time. I'm excited for it. We got a lot of plans for 2024. We'll talk more about that later on. But for right now, let's focus on tonight's show. And, of course, we have to talk about the biggest signing of the entire offseason. Who cares about Shohei Ohtani? Who cares about Yamamoto? Because the Red Sox got Lucas freaking Giolito. This is what I'm talking about. I could care less about Ohtani and his $700 million. Who cares about Yamamoto following him to L.A.? Lucas Giolito is a Boston Red Sox. Okay, I'm just kidding. Calm down. But 2 years, $38.5 million guarantee. There is an opt-out after the first year. So pretty much if it does not go well, let me repeat if it goes well, then he can opt out. So there is a $1 million buyout. So pretty much you're looking at around $19 million for this first year. And a lot of people, I think, we're very surprised at seeing that. And I've been telling you here on the show, don't be surprised if you see Giolito get around $20 million, right? Because you have to think with Giolito, all right? The one thing he's going to do for you is give you innings. The guy's a workhorse. I think, listen, we've gotten to a point with pitching now where we're so focused on stuff. We're focused on velocity. We're focused on the nastiness, right? But I feel like that those two little letters right there, IP, have just been forgotten a little bit. And sure, Lucas Giolito, a bumpy ride last year. I think he gave up like 400 home runs last year. Or what was the exact number? Like 40 or 41. He gave up a lot of bombs last year. 2 home runs per 9. That's no bueno. And as you can see here, an ERA of 4.88, FIP of a 5.27. Terrible numbers right there. I mean, what else is there to say? There's not really much else to say there. He was not good in the second half last year. However, in the first half, he was pretty decent with the Chicago White Sox. And you have to remember here, he had 21 starts with the White Sox, and they were just a bad team last year, right? Who knows what the motivation level was like at that point? I'm sure the guy was going out there and competing every single turn in the rotation for him. But, I mean, come on. Like, to me, I would think if your team was doing better, you're probably in better spirits. But then again, Giolito did have the motivation of it, being a free agent coming up and, maybe, the possibility of getting traded to a contender. But he also did have, I never like talking about people's off the field issues. It's not my business, but there was something going on there, going through a divorce at the end of the day. It happens, right? But that is something. And the fact that he went from Chicago to L.A., back to Cleveland, I mean, it's a lot, man. Like, I mean, you can't really get your footing. To me, I just think he needed a fresh start. He needed to go somewhere where he's going to feel good about where he's at, with who he's working with. I feel like in Boston with Andrew Bailey, Craig Breslow running the show, has a deep emphasis on pitching. I feel like you're going to see a better Lucas Giolito this year. And I'm not just saying that based off of feeling and trying to connect dots. There are some things that I like about Lucas Giolito as well. So first things first, I want to show you the White Sox numbers. Over the 21 starts, 121 innings, a 3.79 ERA, FIP at a 4.43, xFIP at a 4.34. Those are right around average numbers, maybe a little higher than average, but still, that's fine, right? As you can see, he had a 1.6 Fangraph WAR with the White Sox, but the terrible starts that he had with the Angels and the Guardians that completely dropped it down. Then you look at the strikeout to walk ratio. Pretty solid, right around 10 strikeouts per 9 last year. Was still giving up a lot of bombs in Chicago, 1.5. That needs to come down a little bit. But I do like the strikeouts and the walks. Now, if we go take a look at Lucas Giolito on StatCast, and we're going to go look at some the Stuff Plus numbers as well. One thing with Andrew Bailey that he is going, I think, to really work with him on, and Andrew Bailey has said this in the past, he likes to work with a pitcher, and when he's working with a pitcher, he likes to emphasize their strengths, right? What are you good at? Let's just do that, right? Lucas Giolito, there are a couple of things to pay attention to. Now, with Giolito here, you can see, obviously, we got some blues. It's looking a little dreary, right? But one thing you do see with Giolito, the one reason, part of the puzzle here, right, a piece of the puzzle to why teams are high on him, he already has that extension, right, is that ability to throw the ball closer to the plate. So that's just one thing that teams are already going to notice about him, right? He's 6'6", 245. He's got a big build, and he's shown that he's healthy, right? Those are two really good things right off the bat, right? You're a workhorse. You already have the prerequisites to be able to be a good pitcher, right? But then you take a look at some of these other things, right? The expected numbers were all down. He's giving up a ton of barrels, hard hit balls, his walks. The walks weren't bad with him last year. They could be better, right? But the big thing that I see with him is the extension, like I mentioned, the whiff percentage and the K percentage, right? You know he's going to strike guys out, but I think there's just a few things that they're going to have to tinker with, and I think there's a couple of things they need to look at. So first things first is I'm going to look at simply the location, right? If we take a look here, this guy, if I'm just looking at batting average, right, when it comes to all these different charts, right, if I'm looking at the middle of this zone, right, the heart of the plate, my goodness, he was leaving just everything over the plate. I mean, look at this. Like, just ridiculous. I mean, there's no bueno. I mean, 397 in this zone, 387, 324, 313. I mean, this guy was just giving up just everything because he's leaving stuff just right over the plate. So I think that's something they're going to have to work on there. They're going to have to work on the location and just working in different zones, right? So I think that already in itself is going to be a quick fix. Could that be more of a mechanical kind of a fix, right? Maybe he was lacking command. Maybe there was something mechanically that was going on. Maybe something Bailey and Breslow have seen themselves. I don't know. I don't talk to them. Maybe one day we could have a sandwich together, but probably not. That's one thing I would imagine. Maybe there's something mechanically going on. Because when I'm looking at this, he's just leaving crap all over the plate, and he's not really working really elsewhere in the zone. At least that's what I'm seeing, right? If you're looking at, pitch percentage, right? He's throwing a lot down here, right? He's going in on the righties, away from the lefties. So maybe they work in some different locations a little bit, right? He's kind of focusing on that zone. Maybe there was something predictable about him. Maybe hitters were just picking up on him. Maybe he was tipping his pitches a little bit. I mean, my guess is there was probably something that was going on when he eventually went to the Angels and the Guardians. There was probably something else happening there that maybe doesn't quite jump off the page a little bit, right? So I would think there maybe is something a little bit mechanically. Now, one other thing to focus on here. Now, this doesn't make it any better, but the 41 home runs that he gave up last year, already that is lower at Fenway Park. So that is a bit of a good sign. I would imagine probably the monster is going to come into play a little bit. So maybe that could end up helping him out, right? So maybe just all the line shots that he was giving up, maybe just by default, that's going to help him out a little bit. So maybe the park in itself ends up being helpful to him. I know I said that word like 3 times. But now, one last thing that I want to focus on with Giolito. The guy has a very good changeup, right? If you go to the Stuff Plus numbers on Fangraphs, 7th with his changeup when it came to the stuff. Logan Webb had the best changeup in baseball last year. This is among qualified pitchers, by the way. So take that in mind, right? 44 pitchers were qualified last year. So, but then I'm looking at, guys like Montgomery was in front of him, Kelly, Morton, Verlander, Alcantara, right? So Giolito, that is something I would imagine they're going to focus on a lot, right? Let's throw that changeup more. It's a nasty pitch. let's really go with that changeup, right? If he's missing with the locations a lot, sure, maybe something there could be tinkered that can help him when it comes to the command and the location of his pitches, right? Or maybe simply just working in different zones, right? So I think use that combination with location, command, pair it with a very good changeup. And I think you could end up having something there, right? I feel like Giolito, in my opinion, yeah, there's work to do there. There is some tinkering happening, or that's going to need to be happening. But I don't think he's like far away from getting back to what he was doing, right? I mean, if he gives the Red Sox what he was giving the White Sox, I'm perfectly okay with that. If he's like a number 4 in the rotation, 3-4, I'm fine with that. Give me the innings. Mid-3, low-4, 4.3 ERA, I am fine with that. We got the bats where they can get some runs across the board, keep you in the game, 3-4 runs, bullpen. If he can pave the way, get through 6, which he definitely can do. Red Sox have a good bullpen. They can definitely make this happen. I like the signing overall. I'm seeing a lot of people out there, like, I think Red Sox stats, I like what the guy does, but he seems to be kind of just like, I don't know, I feel like he's being a little dramatic over the whole, like, he's just like posting videos of Giolito giving up home runs and stuff, and it's like, oh, just get the negativity out of here, my friend. Just get out of here. And maybe, who knows, maybe I'm being silly, but I just think remember, everyone, coaching is a thing. We need to kind of start remembering stuff like that. These people are real people, by the way. It's not MLB The Show, all right? You can go work with your coaches, right? You can go work with whoever is on the staff, right? There are people in place that help you get better, right? Or they're designed to be in those positions, right? We need to stop, thinking like, okay, what they did last year is what they're going to do this year. We need to kind of get away from that a little bit. And yeah, you can look at the past numbers and, whatnot, but things can always be tinkered with, right? So I think Giolito, he can definitely get back to being that 4, maybe even a 3 in a rotation. That's just me. What do I know, though? I'm just a doofus that sits at my desk. I don't know. But I think the big thing that we all need to start thinking of, too, is I just think innings pitched, it's a very underrated thing, am I right? And if we actually look at the Red Sox right now, and listen, yeah, I'm going Giraffe Neck Robbie right now, but I'm also going to keep it as unbiased as possible. It could definitely go wrong. It could absolutely just end up being a complete disaster. Who knows? Maybe he ends up getting worse. I don't know. But I like to think he's going to get back to what he was doing. At least I hope so. However, if we go look here at the current rotation for the Red Sox, we're looking at, and I'm going to let you know, everyone, Chris Sale is going to be the opening day guy. Does that necessarily mean he is still that number 1 pitcher? Who knows? Let's see what he ends up doing. Right now, I don't know who the number 1 in this rotation is, to be honest with you. When I'm looking at this Red Sox rotation, I don't know who the heck is number 1 here. I don't know. It could be Sale, but I need to see more innings out of Sale. It's not going to be Giolito. Pavetta's fun, but he's not number 1. Bayo, honestly, you know who I think Bayo has more of a chance to be like? I think he's more of like a Marcus Stroman, to be honest with you. I really think that. I even looked back at some of Marcus Stroman's like early numbers in his career while he's with the Blue Jays. And Brian Bayo and him are pretty similar in a lot of ways, right? They both got a lot of ground balls. Bayo throws a little bit more velocity than Marcus Stroman, but they're very similar. So, I don't know. Bayo, to me, could be that number 1 guy. Let's see. But I need to see more strikeouts out of Brian Bayo, to be completely honest with you, for me to call him that number 1. So really, Bayo to me right now is like a 2-3 right now. Out of all these guys, I would think Sale is probably the number 1. I know that sounds ridiculous, right? Because Sale, like, he is ripping TVs off walls. He's falling off his bike. His thumb is exploding at Yankee Stadium. He can't stay on the field, right? So can we really say he's the number 1? I don't know. Like, it's a prove it year. It's It's a prove-it year for Sale. But the point is the Red Sox don't really have a number one right now. And, of course, I definitely think they need to add to this rotation. I don't think, though, it's a bad rotation, right? Sure, it doesn't have the number one. It has that 2015 feel to it, like who's the ace? Red Sox fans in here, you remember that? Remember 2015? Who's the ace? We're all the ace, right? You had, Buckles and Miley. I think Porcello was Porcello on there, I think. So you didn't really have like that clear-cut number one guy at that point. So it feels like that, but track record, it is Sale at the end of the day. So he is going to be the opening day guy. Cora has pretty much already said that. However, the Red Sox right now, funny enough, when you put Giolito in this mix, the Red Sox all of a sudden I know they're just projections, but that's all I got to work off right now, so leave me alone. The Red Sox right now are number 10, which, listen, if the Red Sox got a top 10 rotation in Major League Baseball, I'm okay with that. That is fine and dandy if you ask me. If the Red Sox get 10th, I'm a happy boy. I'm just saying. Steve-O, that comment is hilarious. Oh, my God. Oh, Steve-O. No, you can't say that. Oh, Sale can't pitch when it's windy. Keep it together, Robbie. Keep it together. Here we go. Please, Chris Sale, please eat a sandwich and a gallon of milk. Please. But right now, the Red Sox rotation, when you look at the four guys here, Sale, Giolito, Pavetta, that's four guys projected for at least a 2 Fangraph WAR. You're probably thinking, oh, wow, a 2. But listen, there's only 2 other rotations in Major League Baseball that have at least 4 guys with at least a 2.0 projected FWAR. That's the Blue Jays and, believe it or not, the St. Louis Cardinals, right? To me, I think if the Red Sox, if they really want to be legit, they have to add something to the top here. You got to get a guy that's going to be a 3 Fangraph WAR guy. Got to be something there at the top. Yes, I think this rotation, because of the innings, go back to 2021. Go back to the first half of the 2021 Red Sox season. You had guys like Garrett Richards, Martin Perez pitching games. Let me repeat that. Garrett Richards and Martin Perez were starting games for the Red Sox in 2021. And do you know what the Red Sox did in 2021? All those guys were making their starts every 5th day. And they were just getting through 5 innings. 5, 6, maybe even 4 on some days. And they handed it off to the bullpen. If this rotation can just give you decent innings and get it to the bullpen, they have a chance at being a wild card team. It comes down to that, though. But to me, I think the Red Sox really need to go after someone, right? Who is that someone? Could that someone be Jordan Montgomery? All right, Jordan Montgomery. My theory on Jordan Montgomery right now, I've been thinking about this, right? And I'm speculating. When I think of Jordan Montgomery, I have a hard time thinking that guy is going back to the Yankees because that he has pretty much already said, like, wow, yeah, the Yankees, they didn't let me do my own thing. I went to the Cardinals. I felt like I could just be me, and he pitched, and look what happened, right? I just feel like he's not going to want to go back to the Yankees. That's just who knows? Maybe money talks, and maybe they work something out. However, I'm going to lean more no. The Rangers have TV money issues. I don't know if they're going to want to spend that money. Who knows? I honestly could see the Rangers maybe making a trade instead. That's what I think. They got prospects. They could go make a deal for maybe someone like Corbin Burns for a year until they maybe figure out the whole money thing, right? Maybe they find the money. Sure. Jordan Montgomery, for me, a guy that grew up in South Carolina. He's always been on the East Coast. Do I see him going out west? I don't know. I don't know what his preference is. But for a guy that grew up in South Carolina, I don't know, man. I wonder if he's gonna want to go that far out west, like San Francisco, Angels, right? Who could use some more pitching. Will that be a preference? I don't know, but still, it's a question mark. Maybe money talks at the end of the day. Then I think of a team. I actually thought about this team earlier. Maybe the Phillies. Maybe the Phillies could end up coming out of nowhere. Dave Dombrowski, he went after Yamamoto. He talked about it. He said they were pretty serious on Yamamoto. They gave it a good effort. But after that, he said that he feels like the team is pretty much set. When I look at the rotation, right, you're basically running the rotation back. You got Wheeler, you got Nola. You're going to hopefully get a better year out of Nola. I think if they signed him to that big deal, I think that he's probably going to be a bit more consistent this coming year. And then you got Taijuan Walker, Christopher Sanchez. So you're essentially running the rotation back. I will say this, though. If you bring in Montgomery as your number 3, that's a pretty good rotation. Wheeler, Nola, and then Montgomery. That's really good for the playoffs. So who knows? You can never count out Dave Dombrowski. He wakes up one morning, has a sip of his coffee, takes a bite out of his toast, and says, I want to go sign that guy. And then he talks to the owner and says, hey, you know what? I know we said, hey, we're pretty much good with the spending, but I got a guy, and I think we can win a World Series with this guy. That's what Dave Dombrowski does. He goes in and he sweet talks the owner to get some more money. I'm just saying. I don't know. Maybe the Phillies end up doing something for Montgomery. But Dombrowski has said they seem pretty much set. Maybe he says that on purpose to maybe seem like a dark horse. I don't know. I wouldn't count out the Phillies for Montgomery. I could maybe see it. So when I'm thinking, and then the Mets, right? Well, now this is an interesting thing. With the Mets, I think, are interesting because now they were in the running for Giolito. And now they don't have Giolito. So what does this mean for someone like Jordan Montgomery? Where are they planning to use their money? Remember, they went after Yamamoto. You got to remember. I keep saying the word remember. But they went after Yamamoto, 25-year-old stud. That's different. He's not a 30-year-old dude, right? There's a difference there. Just saying. I don't know if they still push all the chips to the middle of the table for Jordan Montgomery, right? You're basically going to be committing 6-7 years. Scott Boras is there. Is David Stearns is he going to think that's a good value guy to go get, right? I don't know. But I do think with Giolito off the board, maybe they think differently. However, man, if I'm thinking of teams that just like when you have an urge, and also remember with the Mets too, they're thinking 2025 and beyond. They've pretty much already said that, right? They're waiting for some of these prospects to come up, and then they're going to push all the chips to the center of the table. I mean, is Roki Sasaki going to be a freaking Met next year? I'm just saying. But when I'm thinking of all the teams that really make the most sense, I don't know. The Red Sox seem to make the most sense. That's just me, though. But I think it's going to have to come at the right price. I don't think the Red Sox would want... I mean, look, they went 2 years on Lucas Giolito. Are they going to want to go 6 years on Jordan Montgomery? Are they going to want to go 5? I don't know. I think it really comes down to the years. So I think the Red Sox, they're thinking, hey, this guy's already in Boston. We're going to wait this out, right? We're going to hang out. We'll wait for him to, give us a call, right? Scott Boras, he wants to play the waiting game anyway. I think if there is a chance for him to go to the Red Sox, it's they wait him out, right? I think like a very similar deal, well, not similar in terms of actual dollars, but look at the John Lackey signing back in 2010. That $85 million deal that he signed over 5 years back in 2010, today that would be worth around $120 million. To me, the John Lackey signing in 2010 is very similar to what Jordan Montgomery, if you were to give him 5 years, right? I think Jordan Montgomery is going to be like a $25 million guy. I'm just very curious because Montgomery, there's not really like a bang bang kind of a fit, right? The Rangers team wise, it would make sense for them to bring him back. I just don't know about the money. I don't know about the TV money. So I don't know. I wonder how long Montgomery's going to be on this market. But let's say the Red Sox, they're like, no. We're sticking to what we said. We think he's too expensive. Then you got to go the trade market. One name that's been popping up a lot lately is Jesus Luzardo. And funny enough, Bleacher Report, Bleacher Report's always just putting stuff out there. They like to put these, visuals up there. They're always nice looking visuals, very colorful, and, they get people talking. And they put something here today. They had a whole article that they think the Red Sox are the number 1 landing spot. And, Marlins fans, funny enough, a lot of Marlins fans are, and, you're going to be pushing back, right? If you're talking about your top guy. To me, I think it makes a lot of sense for the Marlins to deal Luzardo. What do I know? I don't know, but you don't have Alcantara this year, right? You got some guys coming up for you this year, right? You got Meyer eventually, right? And then Noble Meyer too. I meant Max Meyer. So yeah, there are definitely some younger players. What kind of a season are the Marlins going to have this year? I don't really know, right? If I'm looking at the Marlins right now, right? Let's go look at the actual Marlins. There's some pretty, there's some pretty good players, right? But you don't have Alcantara, and that's your workhorse. So, yeah, Luzardo is going to be your ace. And then you're looking behind him, right? Uri Perez, too. Don't forget about Uri Perez. Still a good-looking rotation, in my opinion. So, I definitely still think they can compete. I think it's a good team. I'm just wondering, with all the beef that they got ahead of them, is it worth it right now to maybe get some value back for someone like Luzardo? And then when you get Alcantara back, then you can really just go gung-ho, right? Take advantage of Luzardo's value while it's high. Let's say the Red Sox give up someone like Marcelo Meyer. They got a lot of pitching already. Even if you don't have Luzardo this year, you could still have Uri Perez opening day. Garrett's your 2. Cabrera or Rogers is your 3, right? Max Meyer is going to be coming back eventually, right? He's probably going to be ready for opening day. He had Tommy John in August of 22, right? So the Marlins, they have pitching. So, maybe they could go sign a veteran guy for something cheap. But to me, I think it makes sense for the Marlins to go cash in on someone like Luzardo because you already have so much pitching as it is. So that's just me. I don't know. I see a lot of Marlins fans pushing back against that idea. I get it, right? Because the Marlins, you feel like, all right, there's finally something here with the Marlins. But remember, you don't got Jorge Soler anymore. That was a big piece. That's now a free agent. He was a big part of your offense last year. What happens without him? So I don't know, the Marlins, and it's also just because you got the Braves and the Phillies ahead of you. I know if you make the playoffs, anything can happen, but I don't know. It just, you just saw what the Marlins were in the postseason with Luzardo pitching for you in a playoff game. And they just got hammered, right? They really showed nothing. And I just wonder if maybe they treat 2024 as more of a bridge kind of a year. I hate using that term, right? But it just kind of sort of maybe feels like that. Again, I know you want to put your best team on the field, but if you have a chance to go get, maybe a major league ready pitcher, even if you trade Luzardo, I still think there's a possibility that you could still compete, right? If you can go get, maybe an upgrade for the offense, still go get a pitcher, in exchange for Luzardo and maybe get a prospect out of it, like a high-ranking prospect. To me, if you're the Marlins, I think you should do that all day. Wait for Alcantara to get back. Alcantara, Perez, Garrett, 1, 2, 3. Maybe Rogers figures it out and he's good. You got Max Meyer. I think you're good, right? So, I don't know. Another guy this is a dream for me. This is a dream for me. Is Logan Gilbert. Now, Mariners fan, I got Ryan probably in the chat here. He is probably just licking his lips, ready to just come after me right now. Ryan, I know you might be here. Big Mariners fan that's been part of this community for a while. Listen, Logan Gilbert, call me crazy. Call me crazy. But my goodness, if we could figure out how to get Logan freaking Gilbert, give it to me all day, every day. I need this man at the top of this rotation. I need it so badly. Please, I will do anything for Logan Gilbert. 26 years old, not a free agent until 2028. So that's what? 24, 25, 26. 4 years of Logan Gilbert. I'm all about it. Please give me Logan Gilbert. 32 starts last year. ERA, FIP under 4. Good stuff. Good velocity. To me, Luzardo or Gilbert, I'm completely good with. I would love either one. Luzardo is actually projected for a better Fangraph WAR as of right now, a 3.3 compared to Gilbert at a 2.8. I would be completely okay with one of these guys. And if we were to go play around on baseball trade values, right, you can definitely get a trade together. The Red Sox could definitely do it. It's just a matter of what would they be willing to give up? To me, I think like Gilbert, another reason I would like Gilbert is you're going to have him for one more year. And to me, I just think that really would be, I don't know, like to me with the Red Sox, like they have like no pitching right now in their minor league system. I want to try and get a guy that's under control for as long as possible. I would like Jesus Luzardo too. One other thing about Logan Gilbert, I got like a bit of a sign. Maybe I'm just getting over my head here, but my best friend, he actually works with Logan Gilbert's stepdad. All right. He told me this in like the beginning of the offseason. I'm like, wow, really? So like Logan Gilbert, he actually, he went to school or he grew up like right around where I live. And, it never dawned on me that he like grew up around here. They lived around here. And, but yeah, my best friend actually works with Logan Gilbert's stepdad. Funny enough. So I saw that. I'm like, oh, is that a sign? Is that a sign? I need any sign I can get. But yeah, it will cost a lot to get one of these guys, right? If you were to do, let's do Luzardo first. They're going to be both, depending on what the teams are looking for. When you're looking at their middle, when you're looking at just like kind of the middle ground when it comes to their values, they are both really similar. So let's do the Marlins first. And of course, we always think Red Sox Marlins, right? They've come together on a trade before. Josh Beckett, Mike Lowell for Hanley Ramirez, Anibal Sanchez, Guillermo Mota. Who was the other guy? Can't remember. I remember the Marlins, they wanted John Lester. Oh, thank God they didn't get John Lester. But with Luzardo, you're looking at a value anywhere from, they're going as low as 50 to as high as 75. To me, if you're looking to get a frontline starter that's under control, I honestly think you're going to have to break through that number right there. That 76, I think you're going to have to do a major overpay, in my opinion. So that's just me, right? So if I'm the Red Sox, right, the Marlins, if I'm looking at the Marlins, what could the Marlins use in their lineup, right? Well, I'm looking in the outfield. You're pretty much set in your infield. You got a Rise, you got Bell, you got Berger, right? They could use a shortstop, right? But there's not really like a shortstop that the Red Sox could send back. At least that's major league ready. You could maybe send back someone like a Valdez, right? But he's more of a second baseman, so that's not really going to work. But for the Red Sox, what they could do is they could send back a future shortstop, their number 4 pick in the 2021 draft, in Marcelo Meyer, just like they did with Josh Beckett back in the day. You sent back Hanley Ramirez, Marcelo Meyer, there's your shortstop prospect right there. And then maybe you could send back a young pitcher along with this as well, just like they did with Anibal Sanchez back in the day. Now, I know Tanner Houck's not really that young anymore, but he's still on the younger side, under control. Maybe you could send back Tanner Houck. Maybe you could send back Cutter Crawford. Cutter Crawford is a Florida dude. He went to Florida Gulf Coast University. So maybe Cutter Crawford goes back home to Florida, right? You got Marcelo Meyer, you got Cutter Crawford in this deal, right? And then maybe you could also send back something for the offense, right? I was talking about how the infield was a little full, but if I'm looking at the outfield, I'm looking at Jazz Chisholm out in center field, Brian De La Cruz out in left, and then Jesus Sanchez out in right. Right now, the odd man out for me is Brian De La Cruz out in left, right? He had a pretty down year. He had some good advanced numbers a couple of years ago, but this past year wasn't very good. So I wonder if maybe this feels like a lot right now. You already got Meyer and Crawford in this deal. It already feels like a ton, but maybe you could put Jarren Duran in this deal too. That's a massive amount. So maybe the Marlins could throw something back, right, as well. All right, this is a pretty decent amount. Maybe instead of Crawford, you could send them back possibly like a Nick Pavetta. I would hate to give up Pavetta, but if it gets a guy like Luzardo, I would do it, right? So maybe you could do Pavetta in there. You got him for a year to kind of help you get through this year, and until Alcantara comes back, right? So, but to me, if there's a piece that could help out the Marlins right now, it could be Duran. But then I wonder as well with the Red Sox, I don't know, if they get Teoscar Hernandez, that's a big part of this too. If the Red Sox end up getting Teoscar Hernandez, who they have been linked to, well, now you got a lot of dudes in that outfield, right? So, and we've actually been seeing the reports that if the Red Sox bring in Teoscar Hernandez, that they would probably look to trade someone in that outfield. All right, if I'm thinking, right, you just brought in Tyler O'Neill. He's not going anywhere. They do have Yoshida at DH right now. Out in right, they do have Wilyer Abreu listed out for right field right now, and then Jarren Duran out in center. So I wonder if you brought in Teoscar Hernandez, you put him out in right, you put Yoshida back out in left, and then you can put Tyler O'Neill out in center, right? So I know Tyler O'Neill, he's pretty injury prone, but you got Wilyer Abreu there too. I believe he played a little bit of center field. I can't fully remember. Did he play center field last year? Come on, Fangraphs, help me out. He played a little center last year. Defense was okay overall. So you could have like a Tyler O'Neill, Wilyer Abreu, and then you got Ceddanne Rafaela too. So that's another thing I think about, right? You got Ceddanne Rafaela. He's very aggressive with the bat right now. So he's really going to have to cut down on, just chasing so much, right? But Ceddanne Rafaela, he's a good energy bat. I just don't know if he's quite ready to be like that leadoff hitter right now. He's got the speed for it, right? I would love Ceddanne Rafaela as the leadoff guy, but I'm thinking of all these outfielders. If they get Teoscar Hernandez, you got Teoscar Hernandez, you got Tyler O'Neill, you got Wilyer Abreu, right? You got Ceddanne Rafaela waiting in the wings. So to me, if I'm looking at a guy that has a ton of value that could help you out in a trade, it could be Jarren Duran. So I know this looks like a lot right now. That's a pretty big overpay. You're giving up quite a lot, but you're getting Luzardo for 3 years, and he's a guy that's going to be a 1 or a 2 in your rotation, right? And then if you did Logan Gilbert, it's pretty interesting because I feel like the Marlins and the Mariners are pretty similar in terms of needs, right? Jarren Duran would be an upgrade. And another thing I wonder too, this might be a little crazy to me, but maybe like the Red Sox, if they weren't able to get Teoscar Hernandez, I don't know, maybe you come up with a situation. I wouldn't want this. This is I'm just thinking of what the Red Sox would maybe do. Maybe they take in Brian De La Cruz, right? Maybe you send back Luzardo, Brian De La Cruz, and then maybe you could do something like that. He's a right-handed bat. I'm not very high on Brian De La Cruz, but remember, not a lot of people were high on Mike Lowell back in the day either. Mike Lowell was the throw-in, right? And then ended up being your World Series MVP. Just saying. So maybe Brian De La Cruz could be someone that you could put back, send back, and I don't know. Either way, I think they can make something happen, right? If we were to go look at the Mariners, let's look at the Mariners here, right? Again, very similar here for the Mariners. and the Marlins, right? They both could use an upgrade with their offense. And with the Mariners here, Logan Gilbert, he's going to be right around the same. They're listing him at around 65, 66, could go as low as 50, as low or as high as 80. So you're looking at essentially around the same value, but Gilbert's going to have one more year. So again, it's kind of the same thing, right? You know, you could send back, I could say, you know, Roman Anthony or Marcelo Meyer here. All right, you got J.P. Crawford there at short, so I don't know, unless maybe you move him over at some point and then Meyer could end up being that guy for you, right? Or Roman Anthony. I mean, what an outfield that would be at some point. If Roman Anthony ends up being the guy that he's supposed to be, right? Julio Rodriguez, Roman Anthony, you know, or who knows? Maybe he ends up not being that guy. I don't know. He's only 19 years old, but the guy just absolutely raked in the minor leagues last year. He was freaking phenomenal. But one of these guys could end up being the centerpiece, right? And then Jarren Duran would be a fit for the Mariners. Same thing. And honestly, I feel like the Mariners could use a bit more of an upgrade out there than the Marlins, right? At least the Brian De La Cruz wasn't very good last year, but you know, he has shown promise in the past, right? But with the Mariners, I mean, right now, like, you got Canzoni out there, not a whole lot of track record at the moment, but if you really wanted to go with a guy that's going to be more proven a little bit, you know, Jarren Duran just had a really good year. You know, the advanced numbers of Jarren Duran aren't amazing with him, but overall, when you look at the numbers, he had a pretty solid season. He gives you a lot of speed. He's not going to be amazing defensively, but that's why I would just put him out in left, right? You got Marlowe and Canzoni out there. So, and then honestly, if I'm imagining a top of the order with a Jarren Duran and a J.P. Crawford, I mean, that to me is a really good top of the order. They got some speed there. You got some guys that get on base. And then you got Rodriguez at 3 and then Garver at number 4. I mean, that's a really good top of the order if you ask me. Jarren Duran, J.P. Crawford, or whatever, J.P. Crawford, Duran, 1, 2, however you want to do it. Julio Rodriguez and then Garver. And then Riley at catcher at number 5. France in the 6 hole. That's not bad. I mean, that sounds pretty decent if you ask me. So, if I were to go back here, you could put Duran going to Seattle. And then, whatever, I was throwing Meyer, I guess. And then, who is the Mariners? The Mariners aren't really... I know they got some guys like Ryan Bliss that could come up eventually. Cole Young, but he's far away. You know, whatever. Myers is a good asset to have, right? They did just draft Cole Emerson recently. So, you know, maybe they could just go the outfield route. You know, maybe they would just take Roman Anthony, right? I'm just putting Meyer in here, whatever. Duran, Meyer, and then you could send back a picture. You know, again, like a Crawford or Tanner Houck or just Pavetta if you want to do that for a year, or maybe Winkowski. You know, one of these guys. You know, and I think you could get something done. Winkowski's only 24 years old, had a pretty good year out of the bullpen, but would they want a bullpen arm? I don't know about that. So I don't know, whatever. I would hate to split up Tanner Houck and Garrett Whitlock, the best friends that anyone could ever ask for. But, you know, Cutter Crawford, he's got a lot of control. I mean, that is a fat package going back. So I don't know if the Red Sox would even find this to be even any sort of an idea, but this would be a major overpay. It would still be approved by baseball trade values, but I just think, I don't know, it's my own personal opinion. I just feel like if you want to get a young starting pitcher under control, you're going to have to give up a big amount, in my opinion, right? You all know me. I'm a big baseball trade value guy, but I'm not going to necessarily sit here and be like, oh, okay, the numbers are even on both sides. No, I'm trying to be realistic at the same time. I mean, look what it took to get Luis Castillo, right? They had to do a big overpay to get him from the Reds, right? They had to throw in another prospect in Arroyo, all right? So you had Noelvi Marte, and then you threw in Arroyo in there, right? They sent back a big package to get Luis Castillo, and he was under much less control. So that's just me. So anyway, I wonder if you're going to end up having to give up like a fat package like this. Who knows? Either way, though, I feel like the Red Sox, they need one of these guys, in my opinion. I would not mind at all Jordan Montgomery. You wouldn't have to give up prospects there. But if I'm looking at someone young, man, like that's going to be cheap on salary. If that's what the Red Sox are looking to do right now is try and save themselves some bucks, that's what I'm doing. I'm going after one of these guys, but then again, I would hate to give up the prospects. So, or do the Red Sox essentially just keep going the cheap route, right? James Paxton has been a name to, possibly bring back. Right? If you had Sale, Giolito, Pavetta, Bayo, and then Paxton in the number 5. Paxton is projected for a pretty decent year next year, and I think if, now that Paxton got some innings under him after basically missing, it felt like 18 years, I think Paxton could end up being okay next year. I don't know. It's risky. But do they just go that route and they just kind of try to get as much as they can out of the rotation as possible and just really strengthen up the bullpen? They have been connected to some bullpen arms in the last couple of days. Robert Stevenson, even Jordan Hicks has come up, right? They were connected with Yariel Rodriguez. So we'll see here. We will see. It's going to be interesting. Man, I know I just rambled on about the Red Sox pitching right there, but hey, it's in the news, and I got to talk about the news. So let's get on to some other stories, but I know we had some Super Chats come in, so let me get to those Super Chats really quick. I believe we had like 5 Super Chats come in. Thank you for that. And everyone, we did hit our like goal for tonight. We're almost at 300 likes. So if you can help us get to 300 likes, I will love you forever. Flash, how you doing, my friend? Flash, how you doing? Did we freeze? Oh, no, we're good. Flash has become a member. Thank you so much. Jacob Toon, $1.99. Congrats on the full-time YouTube bro, Jacob Toon. I love you, my friend. Thank you so much. Ben's pitching clips, $5. Shota Imanaga to the Mets, elite control and stuff, and in that ballpark, home runs per 9 will be limited. I absolutely agree that I think he needs to go to a park that is going to be more spacious. I really think that. Do not put that guy in Fenway Park. I please do not do that to me. No. Red Sox fans, don't. My gut is screaming. I don't care what Red Sox stats or whoever puts out all these like numbers. Sorry, I don't see it. And I'm gonna give you an honest reason why. You can talk about the stuff all you want. You can come at me with all the stuff, but you know what? You know who I think of? I'm gonna show you. Actually, I'm gonna show you. Because Stuff Plus is not all that matters here, in my opinion. Let's go. I'm going to show you one quick example, and I'm going to get back to the Super Chats. Let me show you who was one of the top pitchers last year when it came to Stuff Plus. Here we go. Does anyone remember that name at number 2 right there? Does anyone remember that name? Caleb Ort, second in Stuff Plus with the Red Sox last year. That's the one thing I have seen with Shota Imanaga is Stuff Plus this, stuff that. Look at this fastball. Amazing shape on the fastball. I don't care. Stop coming at me with the Stuff Plus. If you got like 98 miles an hour on your fastball and your Stuff Plus numbers are looking like that, that's what I'm talking about. Give me it all day. But I'm sorry, no disrespect to Shota Imanaga. The dude is pitching in like 90 to 92. Yeah, he's got some good off-speed stuff too. But don't even try to... At Fenway Park is what I'm talking about. Do not put this guy at Fenway Park. Oh my goodness. I just see a disaster. I don't know what it is. It's my gut. I've been watching this team for over 25 years now. Don't do it. Just don't. My gut is screaming no. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would rather see him in Citi Field. I would rather see him in San Francisco. Sorry. This is all the proof that you need right here. That's all the proof that you need. Red Sox stats, if you want some proof, there you go. Caleb Ort, number 2. That's all I'm going to say. Tom Amiano, $4.99. I don't see the Sox doing Monty. I think they go Paxton and trade for a younger starting pitcher to have the cash for Teoscar. I want Monty though. No way they extend Gio. Yeah, I wouldn't count out Montgomery. I just think they're gonna wait it out. That's my own personal theory. That's really kind of the conclusion I've come to. I feel like the Red Sox, they'll keep an eye on him, and if it ends up falling into their laps, then maybe. Right? So we'll see. And actually, what is the Red Sox payroll right now? And I'm trying not to make this a Red Sox show, everyone. I'm sorry. Let my giraffe Nick Robbie run around a little bit. Get it out of my system. But with Giolito now, the Red Sox estimated payroll, right now you're looking at 187. But remember, if you go to I actually just found out about this guy about a week ago. And I learned a lot. But there's an actual Twitter account. I think he's called Red Sox Payroll. Yeah, Red Sox Payroll. So actually, let's go take a look here. I'm sure he's updated it. So it does say on Fangraphs here that there is 187 right now estimated, right? But one thing that I learned, that you got to account for medical fees and whatnot, and different little things that I never really knew that you would include into the luxury tax payroll. But right now, so while it does say 187 for the Red Sox payroll on Fangraphs, he actually adds around 20 million to it. So basically, he is saying that the total payroll right now for the Red Sox is 208. So I think keep that in mind when it comes to your teams. Always remember there's probably other little things that go into it. Maybe an extra, I'm not sure what it would be team to team, but maybe an extra 10 to 20, somewhere in that range. This guy, I guess, has been really covering the payroll for the Red Sox for years. And yeah, I felt kind of stupid when I was like, no, Fangraphs, that's the number one source when it comes to the payrolls. And it looks like they're not accounting for other things that he had mentioned in here. So right now, he is saying that the Red Sox payroll for this year is currently at 208. So right now, according to him, they have less than 20 million to work with. So I'm starting to wonder, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. So, or you're looking at 30 million. Sorry, you're looking at around 30 million to work with. So if you got Teoscar Hernandez for, let's say, 14, 15 per year, funny enough, baseball trade values, they actually think for a 4-year deal, he's worth around 11 million per year. I wonder if the market beefs it up a little bit, right? Maybe it gets up to 12, 13, maybe 14, maybe 15. Let's just say 15 to be on the safe side. So if the Red Sox add 15 million to this, well, then you're looking at 223. And now that's only giving you around maybe 10 to kind of, you always want to keep a little bit of room there if you want to stay under the luxury tax. That seems to be what the teams like to do. So let's say they want to keep it to around 230. Well, then you're really only looking at around 22 million left. So yeah, in that sense, I can think that Montgomery is probably not going to happen. To me, I don't think the Red Sox with John Henry right now, everyone, I put out a long thing earlier. I kind of was thinking, why doesn't John Henry want to really go that everyone keeps joking about the full throttle thing, right? But why isn't he going after these big ticket guys? Why isn't he putting, I don't know, what seems to be the holdup, right? Where's the money, right? I put out a thing earlier about John Henry, and I kind of was looking back at some other things, right? It's not just John Henry, it's Fenway Sports Group, right? They're doing a lot of stuff right now. I'm not going to get detailed about it, but I think that is a big reason, right? John Henry right now is focusing on investments, right? They're just building a whole ton of stuff around Fenway over the next 5 to 10 years, right? They're building new stores, and they're kind of just trying to renovate like the entire area of Fenway, adding like offices, and they're just trying to make it more glamorous, right? And then they got, obviously, right, Liverpool. There were reports. I already said I wasn't going to get into it, but, you got other teams like, Liverpool that they're focusing on. Don't forget they bought the Penguins. They want to add a basketball team too. They're doing something with golf right now. That's why I think the Red Sox right now, they probably want to stay under the luxury tax. That's just me. So if they only got around $30 million to play with, is Teoscar Hernandez going to be a guy, But then again, I wonder if you end up trading, or if you end up signing Teoscar Hernandez, then you could end up trading one of these other guys on the payroll, like Nick Pavetta, who's scheduled to make 7, or Kenley Jansen, who's making 16. You could put Jansen in a package, right? But then again, you might, I don't know. Jansen right now is basically, when you look at what he's making and you compare it to what he's doing on the field and with his age, Kenley Jansen is around a 0 value right now. Not the player, the whole package. Jansen is really not worth as much as you might think, right? But $16 million that they could clear off the books, I could see them moving him. You could move Pavetta, who's $7 million. They could make something happen. So don't necessarily think just because they're, according to Red Sox payrolls, only $30 million left to play with, they could definitely still make some room, right? We've seen Jansen in the news in the last few days, right? We have seen that the Red Sox have been asking other teams, like, hey, what do you think? What do you think for Jansen, right? Pavetta you can put in a package, right? It could definitely happen. I would hate to lose Pavetta, though. But moving on, where even was I? What was I? Oh, yeah, I was at Super Chats. Goodness gracious, I'm so sorry. Potato Brain is kicking in. What do we got? Thank you, Tom Amiano. I love you. Lamar Lackey, $5. I think Roki Sasaki is going to be much better than Yamamoto. I can see the Mets and the Yankees fighting over him. Oh, I can't do it, man. The Yamamoto sweepstakes, they just made my head hurt. I already have a potato for a brain anyway, and it literally made it worse. I just couldn't do it. I was so over it. I don't know, man. God, I don't want to see any more bidding wars. Honestly, just go to the Mets. Give the Mets the consolation prize. You didn't get Yamamoto. Just give him to the Mets. But yeah, you're saying the Mets win the battle. Hey, why not? Why not? I'll go dark horse. I'll go with like a freaking weird team like the Tigers. Can that just happen, please? Goodness. Mag, $4.99. Why are people looking to trade Meyer or Anthony for Luzardo? I see no benefit for the Red Sox to trade these young studs for pitching right now. The 2 words I want to point out with what you said is right now. It's not about right now. It's about having pitching for the next several years, right? The Red Sox don't really have any promising prospects at the moment when it comes to the pitching side of things. So, but you do have promising position players. Meyer and Anthony have a lot of value right now, and that's hard to come by when it comes to trying to land a top of the rotation young pitcher that has several years of control that's also cheap. Remember that, right? I'm looking at, Red Sox payroll here. And that's a big deal if you want to stay under the luxury tax, right? You paid Jordan Montgomery $24 million, or you go pay Logan Gilbert $5 million. That's a big deal, right? It's not It's not just about looking at the player. Listen, we can all hate Red Sox fans. We can all hate John Henry and whatever. You can complain all you want, but whatever. If that's what the guy wants to do, then that's what we're going to do, right? And if you're going to work within those constraints, you can complain, we can whine, we can do all this, but it's not going to matter, all right? So to me, that's why there is a benefit. And again, the 2 words that you had there at the end, right now. It's not right now. It's for the next several years, right? Because the Red Sox don't have really anything for the next few years. They're going to have to really develop some pitching. And this is why, and the reason why Craig Breslow, I think, is going to be good for the future. All right, let's see if he can keep his job for 3 years. Lamar Lackey, $5. Robbie, why not trade? Why not trade for Bogarts since the Padres are trying to cut payroll? Well, the Red Sox aren't going to take on Bogarts' his salary. Hey, don't get me wrong. I would love Bogarts back in a Red Sox jersey. I mean, my goodness, I'm just saying. But yeah, they're not going to take back his salary. And Frank Ryan, $1.99. Congrats, Robbie. Love how you're going for it. Frank, I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so let's get to a few other bits of news. I feel like I've been on here for like 2 hours just talking about my Red Sox. Hey, it's not my fault. The Red Sox are in the news. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's get to we've been talking about the Mets. They have also been interested in JD Martinez, and I definitely could see the fit there, right? As well as the Angels, right? I'll be honest with you, man. I don't know. There's just something, if I'm thinking in JD Martinez's brain, right? If I got his brain in my head, I'm probably thinking Angels, to be completely honest with you. I mean, the Mets I think would be fun, but I feel like the Angels right now, they got to replace Ohtani in that lineup, and he's already in LA, and I don't know, Angels fans are pretty cool. Does JD Martinez, I don't know, does he really want to go to the Mets right now? And who knows what kind of a year they end up having? And I don't know. I feel like the Angels are probably a bit more laid back. He wants to win. I think the bigger question with JD Martinez is probably at this point in his career, he wants to go somewhere where he feel like he can win. So which team offers you a better chance to win? Is it the Mets or is it the Angels? I think that's a really good question. Who do you think has a better season? You know what? I'm going to put a poll. I like me some polls. We already have 300 likes. Thank you for that. Let's do a new poll. Who has the better season? Oh, I see Micah in the chat. JD Martinez is not washed. Stop it. Which team has the better season? Mets or the Angels? I think this is a good question. Let me know. Poll is up. Who has the better season? Is it the Mets or the Angels? Oh, Mets with a big lead right off the bat. 74%. Okay. I don't think the Mets are really all that bad. I think the Angels are in a similar spot, right? Because they have talent. But the Mets have Kadai Senga, right? So, if JD Martinez, but I'm also thinking too, think about also the division, right? I know the Angels are in the West, but is it going to be harder for the Mets to get to the playoffs? You know, basically the East is out of the question, right? Well, we did see the Diamondbacks last year, all right, get in there, right? We saw a few teams, so I'd probably agree. Yeah, I'd probably say the Mets, honestly. I think the Angels, I'm always hopeful of them because they always have talent, but now they don't have Ohtani. So, yeah, I'd probably lean Mets. But I wonder, maybe he just wants to be a little bit more laid back. I don't know. Honestly, I think it comes down to the money. Maybe a little bit of both. Maybe if the Angels offer him more money and the Mets maybe are in the ballpark, maybe he just goes to the Mets, right? He would be a good fit for either team. It's really take your pick. Either team, I think, would be a good fit. So, yeah, JD Martinez had a good year last year. If you look at the year that he had, there was definitely some chasing with JD Martinez, right? But overall, it was a good year. Hit 271, 321 on the on base. That could be a little bit better, but the 572 slugging, the 135 WRC plus, 33 home runs. I mean, that would be really good for either team. And honestly, I've been saying this for so long about the Mets. Last year, I was saying all year, it just felt like they lacked a bat. And I felt like this was a bat that they needed last year. It felt like they really lacked the extension, right? And I just feel like he would be really good for this lineup, right? And then the Angels, of course. Listen, I think this Angels lineup is very good if everyone is healthy and everyone is doing their part, right? So you'd put JD Martinez at DH right now, and then, Drury, you figure out where to play him, right? But it does seem like right now the Mets have more of that natural fit, whereas the Angels, they got to kind of maybe move some people around. I came up with an idea the other day, everyone. I came up with an idea. Can I talk about my Red Sox again? It does have to do with the Angels. I'm sorry, I got to do it. I came up with an idea. You're probably going to hate my idea. Everyone always hates my ideas. That's okay. I hate my ideas sometimes too. But I did come up with something that involves the Angels, and I just talked about Kenley Jansen. Listen, I'm just saying, I think it was an all right trade, right? Put Jansen on the Angels. That gives them another option obviously it gives them a closer, and then Estevez is more of a setup guy, right? And then the Red Sox need a second baseman. I mean, how about Drury? Dude, just swap these guys. Come on. I think this is a good trade. Jansen for Drury. Do it. Do it, Angels. You know you want to do it. Give us Brandon Drury. Go sign JD Martinez. I know Drury's important for the lineup. I see you, Joe. I see you. But just go sign JD Martinez. All your problems are solved. You got the righty bat, and you got Jansen. Come on, we need Brandon Drury. We need a second baseman. Come on. Just do it. Do it, Angels fans. Anyway, but we'll see what ends up happening with JD Martinez. Moving on, let's stay in the AL East. And the Blue Jays, surprisingly enough, according to reports, have emerged as the leading candidate for Yariel Rodriguez. Man, this is just because we saw a tweet from Enrique Rojas of ESPN, and he listed out some teams that are looking at him as a starter, but then there's some teams that are looking at him as a reliever, right? So teams that were looking at him as a starter were the Red Sox, the Pirates, and the Blue Jays, while teams that were looking at him as a reliever were the Yankees, the Reds, and there was one more team. I can't remember what the other team was that was looking at him as a reliever. It doesn't say it. I can't remember. There was one more team that was looking at him as a reliever. Oh, it's killing me. Hold on, wait. Maybe it's in this link. The Padres, right? So yeah, here it is, right? The Red Sox, sorry to mention Red Sox again. The Red Sox, the Pirates, and the Blue Jays have all shown interest as a starter. The Reds, the Padres, and the Yankees prefer him in a relief role. So very interesting that Toronto, according to this report, they view him as a starter. But when you think of the Blue Jays rotation right now, I mean, they're pretty full in their rotation right now. So, I don't know. Gausman, Barrios, Bassett, Kikuchi, and Manoah. I don't know. I mean, I understand you gotta go into camp with, the rule of thumb, right? Is you always want to go into camp with like 7 to 8 starters, right? Because you want that depth. But I mean, if you're signing this guy, is gonna probably cost you a pretty penny. So if you're gonna put him in the rotation, I would think someone would have to get traded or moved. And I'm looking at Alek Manoah. I'm sorry. I don't know. Blue Jays fans, what do you think? Make sure you leave a comment. And also, everyone, I'm going to encourage you, something that I would love for you to do after the show, not in the chat. You can even do it during the show, too. But if you can, leave a comment in the comments, not the chat, the comments, right? It really does help also with the replay views after. Leave me a comment, something that maybe you were thinking during the show, and I can go and answer it after the show. All right? So Blue Jays fans, let me know in the comments, not the chat, would you rather have Yariel Rodriguez instead of Alek Manoah in your rotation? I think that's very interesting. So, but yeah. We'll have to wait and see on that. We do have one more bit of news, but we do have a super chat. I think we had 2 super chats that came in, or was it just one? No, we just had Joe coming in with a super chat. Jansen to the Halos for Rengifo. Maybe they eat the contract. Well, that could be interesting too. All right, I didn't think of that. But what is Rengifo's? What is his value right now? I don't know. Rengifo is pretty expensive. I don't know. And I don't know if would the Angels want to get rid of him? I mean, he's only 26, 27. Had a pretty good year last year. I mean, right now, I don't know. I feel like Drury would be the better option to trade because he has one more year left on the contract and he's $8.5 million. So while Rengifo is solid, and he's under control for 2 years, and he's only going to make 4.2. So I'm telling you, everyone, Kenley Jansen for Brandon Drury. Go sign JD Martinez. I think it's perfect. That's just me, though. What do I know? What I do know is that there is a report on Roki Sasaki. He wants to be posted after the 2024 season, despite financial limitations. I don't blame the guy. Why would you not want to be posted? You should want to be posted. I understand why he wanted to be posted this offseason, right? Remember before that deadline came up to be posted? There was a report out there saying, hey, can you post me, please? I really want to go to Major League Baseball. Ohtani's making a ton of money. Yamamoto's making a ton of money. He's not going to make that money. Remember, if he comes over, even next year, he's still going to be regarded as an international free agent because, remember, you have to play a certain amount of years in Japan to be considered just a regular free agent. I believe it's 5 years, 5, 6, 7. I think it's 5, if I remember correctly. But if we go to Roki Sasaki, right? So let me actually pull up the numbers with Mr. Sasaki. Does Fangraphs have a page for him yet? I don't think they do. But right now, Sasaki, Yamamoto, according to Fangraphs, is the number 1 international free agent right now. And then up next is Roki Sasaki. So they do not have a Fangraph page for him as of right now. So we'll just go to the regular Baseball Reference stats. So looking at Roki Sasaki, I mean, the dude has been out of his freaking mind. Is it 7 years to go play? How many years Japanese players to be posted? 9 years, right? You have to have 9 years of professional experience. I don't know why I was thinking 5, right? So here are the rules. So players from Japan's top league, the Nippon Professional Baseball League, who do not have the requisite 9 years of professional experience to gain international free agency. I take back what I am so sorry. If you play 9 years, you can just come over and be a regular free agent. But I believe that's what I'm thinking. It was 5 to not have to get paid, because I think if you come over as an international amateur free agent, that's what Ohtani did, right? And Ohtani basically just got a signing bonus, right? And then he went through the arbitration and whatnot. So I believe it's to do the posting and everything. I think it was 5. So okay, here we go. The caveat of the posting system is that the foreign-born players are subject to international bonus pool money unless they are at least 25 years of age. Now, 6 seasons. That's what it was. 6 seasons. So Sasaki right now, he's only 22 years old, and he has only played 3 seasons in Japan, right? So that's why people are looking to 2027 for him, right? He played 2024, 25, and 26, right? So, however, he's okay with coming over and just getting the international signing money, right? To me, I would much rather do that if I'm Roki Sasaki. Like, why wouldn't you? The guy, like, I feel like he's wasting his time in Japan. This guy has just been so good. He's been ridiculous. He has an ERA of 1.90 in Japan. He's striking out almost 12 batters per 9, under 2 walks per 9. It is ridiculous. Like, he absolutely should get to Major League Baseball as soon as possible. I feel like really there's not much left for him to prove. I say, honestly, if there's anything to prove, go maybe pitch like a few more innings this coming year, right? The most he's thrown is 129. But then again, I could also see teams being like, yeah, limit your innings, right? Keep him on the low side, right? But then again, I'd like to see if he can, how durable he'll be. I would like to see him prove if, go a bit more, right? That's the only thing I think. If there's anything he can prove, we've already seen how good the stuff is. We've already seen how hard the guy throws. He's ridiculous, right? And you can argue that he's probably going to end up having a better career than Yamamoto because he's already got the build. He's taller than Yamamoto. He's 6'2", right? So I think longevity-wise, he's going to be pretty good. I don't know, man, but it is interesting, right? This does come from the Yahoo Sports Japan page, right? So it's always going to be a little iffy when it does the Google Translate. But pretty much in here, it's saying that, he tried to get posted for this year, but the goal is to get posted next year, right? So it's on CBS, the MLB page, right? They have the link to the article if you want to go read it there. So, but yeah, I honestly think this is the right move for him. I would, if you thought the Yamamoto bidding was bad, wait until you get this. Like, this is gonna be it's gonna be ridiculous. Hey, Jim Bowden, how you doing? But of course, Mets. You would think the Mets. I don't know. To me, I think, sure, maybe they came up short on Yamamoto, but I think they also looked at how hard they went after Yamamoto, and they probably saw, too, it's only going to make us look good to go after Roki Sasaki, too. But then again, is this guy just going to want to pitch? Does he already have a team that he wants to go pitch for? Can anyone confirm? Are there any pictures of him in like a Dodgers hat, Yankee hat? Is there anything with Roki Sasaki out there that gives us clues of like, the guy loved the Dodgers growing up? Like, is he going to be a Dodger? Like, come on. Please don't. Come on. I really don't want that. Like, I don't know, man. I think we're going to have to do some digging. Go find the Instagram. Go find whatever page. Go see if he's wearing any Dodger hats anywhere. Maybe he already has his team in mind. I hope not. But we'll see. I don't think the Red Sox are getting him. Who knows? Maybe they didn't go crazy for Yamamoto. Maybe they're waiting for Sasaki. I don't buy it, though. I don't buy it. It'll be one of those big teams, the Dodgers. You're always going to have the Giants in it. Always. They're going to be in everything. The Giants are that team that just goes to the table with all the money, but no one wants to play with them, right? They're going to the poker table. Hey, can we buy in? Nah, we're good. We're good. Nah, you're out. Dodgers, yeah, sure. Yankees, they're always going to be in it. The Mets, they got a lot of money coming off the books. To me, if I'm thinking of a favorite for Roki Sasaki right now, I got to think it's the Mets. I know a lot of people would say the Dodgers too. It would have to be either the Mets or the Dodgers at the top, I would think. If you're a betting man, I would probably say the Dodgers, right, just because of Ohtani and then Yamamoto. But I think the Mets would be really strong contenders for Sasaki too. So we'll see. We already know it doesn't matter if you already have a player from Japan on the team already. That does not matter, right? So, yeah, I say they just go build the dynasty with the Dodgers. Just do it. It's like, it feels inevitable. Goodness. Anyway, everyone, I think I'm out of here. I wasn't even planning on going live tonight, and then you all really showed up for tonight. I thought last night was going to be the last stream of the year, and here we are. I'm really glad we ended up having one more stream. But most likely, I'm not going live tomorrow unless something happens. Maybe someone wants to get something done before the new year. I don't know. Sunday, though, I will probably not go live on Sunday because it is New Year's, and I do have stuff planned. I would imagine nothing is going to happen on New Year's. Who knows? Probably will. I don't know, right? However, I might tomorrow be doing the Barreled Up podcast with Jim over on Ballcap Sports. We are now the hosts of the Barreled Up podcast with Odyssey. In case you don't know, we might be doing something tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. Jim has been under the weather lately, so we might not do it tomorrow, but be on the lookout for it. Either way, everyone, thank you. If this is the last time I see you on this channel until 2024, I do want to just say thank you for everything. And again, if you missed the announcement, this is now my full-time job. I am very excited about it. Got a lot of stuff planned for 2024. And I'll give you a hint of what I have planned. Expect more streaming. Expect more streaming, even during the season. Even during the season, right? I'll just tell you, I'm honestly thinking about doing a morning show during the season. I'm honestly thinking about it where we talk about the games the night before and kind of just hang out in the mornings, you know, have some coffee, look at the box scores, right? Talk about anything interesting going on. That is the plan right now. That is the plan for 2024. Still going to do the power rankings and everything too. But yeah, I'm thinking of adding a morning stream in 2024 once the season starts. So, but yeah, everyone, until next time, I'll have more ideas, obviously. But also, I might be posting a video tomorrow. I know you might not see me on a stream tomorrow here, but I might be posting a video. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure the bell is turned on. That way you know I'm posting anything or going live. You'll get the notification. On your way out, if you can, hit the like button. I will greatly appreciate that. Share the show if you can. And subscribe if you are new. And again, everyone, I'm going to encourage you, go post something in the comments, right? Go post a question. Go post a thought that you had during this show. I really would love to look at the comments after the show, and that way I can engage with all of you. It's a little hard to engage during the show just because you're all so excited in the chat. It's hard to get to all of whatever you're saying. But leave me a comment, and yeah, and I'll get back to you there. Everyone, if this is the last time, thank you for this year, and I really do appreciate everything. Have a great new year, right? Spending it with family, friends. Please be safe out on the roads. Please, if you are an adult, please keep the beverages to a minimum, right? If you are going to keep the beverages on the higher side, please get an Uber on the way home. Please be safe out there. Have a great night, everyone, and I'll talk to you next time.